Apologies on Facebook, and we'll see how we go.
How jazzy is that?
Love that music.
This is so professional.
It is. Well, it's 3/4 professional. Let's leave that. So, welcome to.
And 1/4 that's not so.
Yeah, that's the quarter. The phone right there. Welcome to Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit. Crafty is with us. Just not entirely. He's on the phone. We're having some technical difficulties.
I'm here.
And thankfully that works. So we're here with Philip and Alex from Mobius Distilling. Hi guys, how you doing? Thanks for bearing with us for the last half an hour as we try and short this clusterfuck out.
That's what happens.
So so without Crafty here, obviously we're going to have to fumble our way through. Crafty knows you, but I don't. Who are you?
I'm me. I'm
That's a good start. You think you need a drink first, don't you?
Oh yeah.
If we must, well, I think after all of that, we certainly do. Crafty, what have you poured yourself?
What have I called myself? Oh, what have I poured myself? Sorry. What have you called myself? This is really fun. Okay, so I'm sitting in my shed at Craftworks Distillery. I've got a bottle, which is getting to the end, unfortunately, Todd, of the Victory Hill Blunderbuss, which is a special one-off release, 52%, and I'm sitting here. I'm about to start enjoying it. I might have a bit more than what I actually planned, I think.
It's probably necessary. Todd, what have you got?
Glass, Luke?
Mine. I went for something a little unusual. I saw an
What's in your glass, Luke? Oh, Luke.
Yeah. This Ancient Wisdom. I've never heard of it before. Apparently it's from Melbourne, and it's interesting.
Wow.
I don't know. Sorry?
interesting in what way?
Well, it's okay. So it's a no age statement, but it says it was distilled in 2016. Single barrel red wine casks, and it got me because it said that it's floral vanillin with hints of tobacco and sandalwood.
Ooh.
So on paper, it sounds really good. And I think I'm getting the sandalwood, not so much the tobacco, though. So the tobacco is more what I was hoping for. But for $80 for a bottle, it's all right.
Not too bad for a try.
Yeah. I've never heard of it.
Why do you want tobacco in your whiskey? What's the flavour effect from that?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I liked the smell of tobacco. So why not try and see if they can recreate it? Boys, what's in yours? Philip, I think I saw a beer there.
No, this is Philip is drinking a apple pie and dry.
Oh,
Which is one of ours. It's one of ours.
Yeah. Got to promote it.
Yeah, well, I'm driving in a bit, so I can't get, on too much of the heavy stuff until I get home.
So Crafty is a few hours away from home to the distillery, his shed. How far from home are you?
About 15 minutes.
Ah, that's right. You can walk that.
Yeah. I've got to go pick a truck up tomorrow, so maybe not.
Managed to find some awesome new gear on Grays Online, so we're getting up bright and early to go and pick it up tomorrow morning.
Ooh, anything interesting?
Yeah, it's going to be a heat exchanger. It's the best thing ever.
That is.
Picked up a
Is
plate
there anything
today,
sexier than a heat exchanger?
And a big tank.
Very nice.
Heat exchanger and a big tank, Crafty. What
And
have
a
you
big
been
tank.
doing all day?
Well, that leads to a really good opening question for you guys. So if I kick off a question and you can hear it, you can answer it. If not, then Todd, you can, and Luke, you can run with the question today.
Yep.
Go for it.
All right. So Phil and Alex, you're
Crafty.
basically self-funded for Mobius. You've bootstrapped the whole thing, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
Round up.
I can relate to. So, what's from your perspective? What's the challenges that you have? And use the example of what you did today with Grays Online. That's quite interesting. When you don't have $2 million in the back of your pocket, you're going out there and building a distillery. You're building it piece by piece and making it work, which presents its challenges, doesn't it? So tell us a little bit about it, if you can.
Well, I guess it's sort of evolved from, when I was, passionately home brewing and, making a lot of the home brewery, from pieces I, scrounged and repurposed and the like. So a chunk of that ethos has followed through into, the distilling career. But it's also like, okay, it'd be nice to have something, bright and new and flashy, but why pay, a gazillion dollars when, I can get something that's secondhand and does just as good a job. And, we like to call our place a working distillery, not a show painting. So, I'm probably a bit more on form over function over form.
Right.
I think we can all relate to that. I certainly know that I can. As a very amateur home brewer and distiller, you just make whatever you can work.
Yeah.
And that's half the joy of it as well, isn't it?
Indeed. Oh, I get a lot of pleasure out of that. But, to Crafty's point about, bootstrapping stuff, we've started small and then, when we built the business and, we were getting more sales coming in, we then needed more to produce more. And so we've used the, proceeds from the sales that we got to then, buy some more gear so we could then step up to the next level. And so it's been a series of, incremental steps along the way to get, to where we are now. And we'll probably continue like that for a while yet too, I think.
Is there any big ticket item on your wish list that you've just got a alert on eBay and Facebook Marketplace?
We've got one each. Mine's a label printer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right
Really
as crap.
Yeah. And his wish list is an Anton Par.
Sorry, a what?
Anton Par.
Par.
Right.
So portable density
You might have to explain what an Anton Par is.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
It's a portable density meter,
It's a very fast car.
so you can
People
measure.
are trying to talk.
You can measure the specific gravity of your wash, before you, fermenting, before you start fermenting. The alcohol concentration at the end. When you're running through the still, you're taking samples off the still instead of having to, take a sample and cool it down to 20 degrees C, so it's or temperature compensate using your alcometers. It does it, takes that 2 ml sample and gives you a result in 2 seconds or so.
Nice.
So,
as a nerd, that really appeals to me.
It's a serious game changer. It makes things so much quicker.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing it does too, which is really, really good, is when you're trying to ascertain the right strength to make a whiskey. So you're taking samples out of a barrel, and what you do is you blend the different barrels together and you dilute it down and you adjust it, and you end up making a bit of volume. But if you use an Anton Par, you can actually just do it all in a shot glass. So you save a lot of waste, and you get an instantaneous reading on your strength. So if you go, I think this needs to be about 52, it's currently 58, and you blend it with something else, and you throw in a bit of water, throw the Anton Par probe in, and you've got a result straight away. So to me, that's been a real added benefit with blending whiskey. Just my 2 cents there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cool bit of kit. So.
Sounds like one of those ones that you just sort of keep in a padded box and bring it out, hold it, and go,
Yeah.
so pretty.
And then put it back in its padded box.
Yeah.
What a place to store it. Let's change it up. Let's go right back to the start. Let's start with the name. Where did the name Mobius come from? And also, what is the history of Mobius? So how did you guys meet? How did you guys dream and get to the point where you got a little shed and just gone from there? So fill us in on the background, guys.
Yeah. Okay, so I was involved in a brewing and hospitality company a while back, and was looking to go off and sort of go in my own direction. And I asked our brewer, to be looking at equipment, and he pointed me towards Still Dragon, which is a brand of equipment that makes stills and what have you. So I went up to Tamworth to visit the guy who is the Australian agent for Still Dragon, and I mean we spent 90 minutes looking at all this really awesome stainless steel, and then 14 hours drinking, and he put me on the train back to Sydney the next morning, and I remembered to say, oh, by the way, when I get back to Sydney, is there anybody that I would be able to talk more about this with? And he pointed me towards Philip, and so I emailed, got in touch with Philip through the Still Dragon forum, and we met up in a pub, had some beer.
Tried a few samples of stuff that I'd been making. Alex went, this is all right. Took it home and gave to a few other people to say, is this all right? And they said, yeah, it's good. And we thought, from the home brewing for an age, I'd, wanted to branch out, into my own, venture. But I looked around and thought, well, I don't want to go and, start a brewery, one, because of the amount of capital involved, but two, because of the number of breweries that are around the place. I felt that distilling was a much better, avenue to pursue, as initially a sideline job, so to speak, compared to, my day gig. I could leverage, the knowledge and experience that I'd gained over several years, both through brewing and, some backyard distilling. Took it from there. So we decided to, make a start. We first thought, what are we going to go to market with? Apart from, the million other questions we had. And issues that we needed to deal with. So first up, we basically went out and tested the market with a couple of products that I pulled together to do some road testing to see, is it something that people would buy? We went and did a tasting. No, it wasn't really a tasting. It was sort of semi-trade, semi-public trade show, for want of a term. We actually met Nick and Andy there as well. Got some really positive feedback. from both, people who ran bars or, were buyers for, bottle shops and etc., as well as, punters who were, just interested in what was happening in, the spirits industry. And so once we, had some positive feedback that, these products are good to go, we then went, okay, so how can we then scale that up? We need to find a premises. We need to do this. We need to do that. And so we needed to start a business. And so,
yeah, you need to get serious. What sort of products, Phil, were you initially putting up there? Getting people to taste at the bar and public. What was it? Was it the vodka or was it liqueurs?
No,
What was it?
it wasn't the vodka. I took a couple of gins I'd made, as well as a couple of rums, because I'm a big rum fan.
Right.
As well as, the precursor to this. So, it was
Yes.
a precursor to the apple pie, the Moreau apple pie liqueur. Just dipped the toe in the market with that. But then, we set up the business and we were throwing around ideas for, names, and, we're both a bit geeky, both a bit sciencey. And, I've always loved the mathematics and everything behind a Mobius strip. I just said to Alex one day, well, what about Mobius? As Mobius Distilling? And he thought about it for a bit. He goes, yeah, that's really cool. Because, a Mobius strip, there's no beginning, there's no end. There's infinite possibilities, for what we can do. So we thought it, was a pretty apt metaphor for what, we were about and what we were trying to do and stuff. We decided to run with that.
And the rest is history.
Yeah,
wow.
Here we are.
And now, so how many different...
And then
Well, then we had to find a premises. And so it took us probably around a year of trying to, going around trying, to locate different premises and, writing a budget and a business plan and all that fun stuff. But one of the challenges that we found and worked out pretty quick is that, without having, and this is back to your bootstrapping point, Crafty, without having, that couple of $1 million in your back pocket, starting off is bloody hard. In particular when, you've got to go to a commercial real estate agent, you've got a landlord and pay rent and, put bond up in front and, paying commercial rent, and entering into a long-term contract for rent when, you need to get, significant cash flow coming in, to be able to pay for that rent. We tried a few different angles at that, and then we ended up in 26.5 square meters. We found this tiny little space over in Michael.
Turns out it was actually the smallest independent distillery in Australia.
Wow. Well, look, that's a claim to fame.
Yeah. Yeah, you could barely swing a cat in the place, If you did, you'd be smacking into piles of bottles or the wall,
That makes our initial shed of 60 square metres sound. Yeah, that's right, 60 square.
bloody luxury.
Wow.
So we
You
started off
had big plans for that space as well, too, didn't you? You had, there was going to be a bar or some other things in the adjoining building or something.
It was a pretty cool space, and the landlord was interested in us helping him activate the space, but it was more he was interested in us activating the space at our cost and our risk and everything like that, So whilst he was keen, he wasn't interested in trying to assist us so that we could both grow, our separate businesses, in parallel and support each other, along that journey. So we got to the point and said, well, look, what are you going to do? They're going, well, you guys need to make a decision. We're going, look, we've been talking to you for over a year with all of our ideas and none of it's, come to fruition. So we just went, all right, well, what's it? They offered us, a place, part of the same premises that what they said was, market rate. And so that just immediately, perked my curiosity and went, well, okay, let's have a look around and see what the market is doing. And found a place immediately next door that was the same sort of space that we were looking at that was significantly cheaper. So then went, all right, well, what else is around? And that's when we found this place we're in now over in Leichhardt, not Leichhardt, Marrickville, that had been used as a kombucha brewery. So it already had a DA approval for a brewery, and we just went, oh, happy days, walk up, and start producing almost. So yeah, we decided to bite the bullet and move into here, scraped up some coin to, pay the bond and all of that, moved in, and about the same time, my day job, I was working as a contractor. Contractor got extended. 2 weeks later, they cancelled the project. So I went, well, am I going to go and keep working for the man, or am I going to, follow the dream and, put everything into this? And so that was 18 months ago when we moved in here and been distilling full-time since.
Well, you've probably had a fair bit more time on your hands, even more so over the last 12 months. Has that given you sort of extra time, extra oomph, or has it made things more difficult?
Haven't had more time. No,
we've been going
hard at it.
Even more so than before.
Yeah, because when we were over in Leichhardt, we decided that we'd hit the market with our 38 special vodka, because every bar needs vodka. So we were wanting to get the vodka out there, one, so that we could start to build, rapport and relationships with bars, restaurants, pubs, and then move up, once we got our foot in the door, then to on-sell them, other products such as the apple pie and some gin and so forth. So yeah, our primary focus was, on selling, to trade instead of direct to consumer. So when COVID hit and lockdown happened, we probably lost 95% of our business overnight. So as far as having, spare time to do anything, no, we're like paddling like hell to, bloody stay afloat, and going, what can we do? How can we do it? Where's some opportunities for us, in these tight times that, we can not take advantage of, but we can get on board with and, make sure that we survive.
And what strategies did you end up with to survive COVID, survive lockdown, and come out the other side hopefully a little stronger?
Well, I mean, e-commerce.
Beyond sanitizer.
Yeah, beyond sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. I think every distillery in the country has probably got a stash of hand sanitizer. Yeah, sitting unsold.
So if anyone's watching that wants some Sandy, come and see us. We've got some.
Yeah,
really good.
good deal.
It's gin scented too.
Yeah, look.
Hygienic.
Beautiful.
Yes, so back to Luke's question. Luke's question. How did you adapt? Because it was challenging.
Yeah. Apart from getting burnt with hand sanitizer, we quickly built a direct-to-consumer online presence and started, promoting that fairly actively. As well as that, we were still trying to, maintain our contact with, the bars and stuff that we had been supplying to try and, keep them, across where we're at and to understand where they were at and what challenges they were facing. We had a number of bars that we knew when things backed off a little bit, morphed into doing, the home delivery cocktails. and so we were able to supply them. Just by keeping in touch with them and understanding what they were doing, we were able to supply them, for doing, take-out cocktails, which certainly helped.
I think a lot of businesses, during that, like the first couple of months of when COVID kicked in, were really quick at being able to adapt and pivot what they were doing. And you guys probably know that all of the liquor licenses, which up until then have been, really quite strict about what you're allowed to do, they all got basically just changed and said, look, if you're currently selling liquor, keep selling liquor, provided you maintain your responsible service of alcohol, and don't serve children, don't serve really drunk people. Just do whatever you have to do to survive. And yeah, that was actually from our experience dealing with the bureaucracy. That was just amazing that all the rules went out the window, and generally nothing bad happened either. So
right. So how do you take advantage of that change in rules?
Sorry?
So how do you take advantage of that change in rules with nobody able to go out?
No, well, that's where, people, like I was saying, a lot of bars that we've been dealing with, they, in order for them to survive, they morphed into doing, pick up cocktails or take out cocktails.
Yeah.
So we were then able to supply our products to them so that they could then make those cocktails.
Right.
But around that same time,
there was a lot of bars that attempted to survive.
He was just saying the way that bars were able to get through the shutdown.
Yeah. And that, takeaway cocktails really helped, those guys. It certainly helped us that they were, continuing to buy off us. But yeah, around that time as well, we had some good news in that we picked up right at the start of COVID. Actually, it's up here. We got gold medal and Judge's Choice awards for the apple pie liqueur at a competition. So as a response to that, we then put some money into getting some photo shoots done and stuff like that, so we could then promote, the fact that we had, won these, medals in this competition for, flagship product. We actually got in a new distributor who, has got us into a number of bottle shops around the place. And so, yeah, combination of being able to get recognition, for the product, across trade and, the consumer public, and then be able to promote that and then get, some more bottle shop sales, certainly helped. And then a little while later, sort of middle of the year, was it? We were awarded gold medal for the apple pie again at the London Spirits competition with the 5th highest score in the overall comp. It was about the 2nd highest liqueur score from memory. So yeah,
we're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that must give you a great confidence boost.
Oh, well and truly.
Yeah, it's not just my mum who thinks it's great. It's actually like, people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah, on the other side of the world.
Oh, look, your mum's the best judge on most things, really, isn't she?
Well,
she'd like to think.
The Australian, consumer is very much of the mindset that, it's a bit like, the tall poppy syndrome, if it's from overseas, it's got to be better than what it is, what we've got here. And so getting that international validation for something that was made here, I think, was a pretty important piece of credentials that we can stand up to and say, hey, this is what we can stand on the world stage and make, stuff that's as good as, if not better than, anywhere else in the world. So get behind it and, you know, let's support all of our Australian producers.
Yeah, amazing achievement. Well done.
Cheers, man.
So I'm going to have to, I think I've actually tried it, the apple pie.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it's
so guys,
amazing how it tastes like apple pie.
Yeah, funny that, eh?
It's just, but it's actually mind-blowing how accurate it is and just how Moorish it is.
Yeah.
I struggled to not drink all of it.
But it's not, it's not just
Don't fight the urge. It's
the thing about Luke that, you know, we've found is that it's great on its own, but it's, as per the label that we've got on the top, you know, of the bottle, you know, it's mix up a little something, and that's because we haven't found something you can't mix it with yet. Truthfully, you know, chuck it in some whiskey, bang some rum in it, you know, add it to a GMT, put it in a nice prosecco. It just takes all of these other drinks to another level. It's get experimental with it. It's really good. And then tell us what you do with it. Tell us what you do with it, and, you know, because we're interested in what everyone does with it too.
Yeah, wow. That sounds like a interesting social media challenge to put out there.
Yeah.
See what crazy, weird combinations and cocktails people can come up with.
Yep.
Send them through. Brilliant. So what's next? What's happening at the moment? You've got the apple pie. That's going brilliantly. You've got your vodka.
Have you tried it with apple juice?
Yes. It's good with cider too. Try it with cider, Crafty. So what's next?
Say again? What was that?
I said try it with cider.
No, I said, have you tried it with apple juice?
Yes.
Yes.
But you say what's next? This is what's next.
Very nice.
This is.
What is that?
This is the company you keep.
Sorry, guys, I got a delay on my end.
So he's just showed a bottle of the company you keep.
The company I keep.
It's a new gin that we're releasing. As I said earlier on, I've been a mad keen gin maker and gin.
Oh, yes.
For a long time. I've held off releasing a gin, you know, into sort of the commercial market, just because there's so many gins out there. And how do you stand out in I wouldn't call it a saturated market, but a very crowded market? So a while back, just behind the head here, put out the 2204 gin. So that's a Marrickville dry gin. Available cellar door or on our website. It's a cracking, you know, dry style, a little bit more assertive than some. But it's more, you know, just so that we've got a foot in the market, you know, when everyone says, oh, where's your gin? We go, well, there it is, you know, give it a crack. Whereas the company you keep, it's something we've developed with the guys that do all of our branding. They've come up with all of the label designs and that type of thing. We're all, both the branding guys and ourselves, we're all about having conversations like this and, you know, sharing our experiences and sitting around a table and sharing drinks. And as a distiller, one of the best things I can do is share my product with, you know, people. And, you know, I get great pleasure out of doing, you know, sharing, you know, that. And, you know, people obviously, you know, like it and, you know, buy it and continue to buy it with you. But, you know, just that whole, you know, group of people that you have around and those acts of sitting around sharing a drink and having a chat, like we're having now, like Crafty and I've had on I don't know how many occasions. You know, it's you also, you know, hang out with some like-minded people as well, and so it's the conversations you have, when you're having a drink, particularly, something that's good quality, is quality in itself. And so that's where sort of some of the inspiration behind, the company you keep, is. You want to share good quality with, good friends and good family, and share that and enjoy the relationships that you develop and, the experiences that you have together. So when we're talking with, Dan and Kent from our branding agency about, these sorts of things, that really resonated with me. And so I said, look, they had some ideas about how they wanted, the gin. And I gave them some samples of a couple of different things I'd made. And there was sort of two that, really piqued their interest. One of them was like a really big, bold, juniper-heavy gin that's really polarizing, for a lot of people, because it's, so assertive. For people that we've given it to, half go, yeah, I absolutely love it. And the other half go, nah, definitely not. I don't want a second one. Which is great, because again, as part of those conversations, it forces people to have an opinion,
At least it's not boring.
Yeah. And it's one of the things I hate people who don't think about things, or, say, no, I don't like it because it's too much of this, or it hasn't got enough of that, Whereas, if you push the envelope a bit, people start to think and go, oh, what's that that I'm tasting? How, so there was that one. And there was another one that I'd made that was a bit more approachable. It was very much citrus. And I'd made that. I got together with a group of friends here in the distillery one weekend, and these guys that I've known, for 30 odd years. And so, I sailed with them, and so I made a batch of gin with them, especially for them that time. And so, it sits on the back bar, and it's just known as the Sailing Crowd gin. So guys really like this as well. And so they said, well, we really like the assertiveness of the juniper in this, but we really like the citrus that's in this one. And so I've basically, brought those two things together into the company you keep.
Wow! And is it bottled at a higher percentage?
No, it's still at 40.
Okay.
Some people will, go, it's not, 47 or 52. I let the product speak for itself, not the ABV.
Oh, absolutely! It's all about the flavour at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have that story of the mix of the mates, and that's mix of the mates, the experimentation, bring it all together into a bottle. That I find that interesting, the collaboration that you had with your marketing agency to come up with the product. Generally, it's sort of you go to the marketing agency with, here's the product, sell it for me. So you have a different relationship, a different approach with them, where it's collaborative about building a product?
Oh, it's not just building the product, but it's building our brand and our story, and building their business as well. Because their focus is entirely on the drinks industry.
Yeah, right. Very nice. And that's available now?
Just can you hear me? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
go
for it.
Yeah, just a question. You've used the postcode Marrickville as part of the branding. Is that right?
Not on this particular gin.
Guys.
On the gin that's so the gin that we sell on our online shop or over the counter here, is the 2204 Marrickville Dry. But this one that is just about to hit the market is a different beast.
And how far off is that from sale?
We were going to release it next week, but the first batch actually got snapped up all in one go.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What a problem to have.
So I've had to make more this week so that we can have something ready for it.
So this week was gin on Monday.
Yeah. Rum on Tuesday.
and Wednesday.
Yep.
Today's whiskey. And tomorrow's
probably more whiskey.
More whiskey and
getting tanks.
Getting
equipment.
So that is a lot of product and a lot of very different product. What's your still setup like? How do you manage all of those things?
Depends on any given day. So this is one of the benefits of using modular gear. So I said, we originally ended up meeting up over Still Dragon equipment, and that's what we're using. So the whole thing can get pulled apart, reconfigured. So if Phil wants to make gin on Monday, he can clamp together a gin basket onto it, and then to make rum, unclamp that and
reconfigure it. Yeah, if I want to make a heavy rum, I reconfigure it one way. If I want to make a lighter rum, configure it another way.
Yeah. Right. That gives you a huge amount of flexibility and.
Sure does.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said earlier, I love my rums. Alex, likes his whiskey with the hamster. Is that how it goes?
That was what's powering the website.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, apart from the market saying we want a gin, we like to keep each other happy. So that's why I'm making some rum for myself, making some whiskey for Alex. Well as what the market's sort of saying, but as well, I'm doing some other things as well that it's what I think the market would. I'm trying to keep an eye out on some. I like food and I like flavors. Experimenting with food and experimenting with flavor, and so I've got a bunch of ideas on the board, for not necessarily products, but flavors and spices and botanicals that I'm keen on experimenting with and seeing if I can come up with a product that might work from that. Again, from having that sort of slightly off-center view of things instead of going, oh, well, yes, we do a whiskey and we do a rum and we do a gin and, everyone else is the same. Same as like, you look at a brewery, I've got my Pilsner, I've got my IPA, I've got my Stout, yada, 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 and you go to another one and they've got the same sort of lineup, what differentiates one from another?
So in terms of your rum and your whiskey, generally they take a while longer to get out the door.
Yeah.
And we can see the tops of some barrels over your shoulder there. What's happening with the rum to begin with?
It goes into a barrel and then we try to forget about it for 2 or 3 years.
Right. How many years in are we now?
Well, we barreled it yesterday, so.
Right. Okay. Yep.
We're counting.
So a little while.
Cool. So we are very early in the process.
Yeah, and only 700 and something days to go, I think.
Cool. And how much have you got sitting there now?
That comes back to like Crafty's question about bootstrapping. Because to put dark spirits down is quite a capital expenditure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So without having lots of backing or any backing, we've been working on cash flow, and then going right. We're at the point where we can start to lay some stuff down, and done some small scale batches to test a couple of processes out and things like that. To now get to the point where we're going right now. Let's start to put some stuff down, and doing some. Again, a few ideas that are a bit left of centre to make a more interesting product when it comes out at the end of the aging period.
So you've got the rum down yesterday, and the whiskey.
We'll be doing something with that next week.
Right. Very nice.
We have a couple of barrels we've put down earlier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that you forget about.
We've got 3 barrels. Yeah. Got 3 barrels of whiskey which we put down maybe 6 months ago. But yeah, we've also got a couple of barrels of brandy we've done.
Okay.
So yeah, this was part of
been busy.
the COVID morph, started off, everyone was making sanitizer, so, you couldn't find neutral spirit to save yourself. So we went, well, where can we get some, alcohol?
Any kind of alcohol.
But, convert to sanitizer, and we found a bunch of wine, which, if you remember this time last year, the country was ravaged by bushfires, and so all the bloody grape growers weren't even picking their grapes, the whole pile of them. But we found one guy who actually picked and then processed, and he had stuff in a tank, but he got it tested, and it was tainted by bushfire smoke, and so he didn't want to release it. So we said, great, we'll grab it. So we got a few thousand litres of wine shipped down to us, and as we said, we were going to make some sanitizer out of it. So we started distilling it out, and then went, hang on, this is actually really tasty. So it was pretty ordinary wine. It hadn't been finished or anything. It was really young. But then by the time we'd distilled it out, it was a really tasty eau de vie. So I thought, no, we've got to chuck some of this into a barrel and see how it turns out. So another 8 months, we're going to have some bushfire smoke brandy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Something to look forward to.
So are you brewing as well, or because you've got a home brewing background, so do you do your own brewing as well, or do you have the space?
We probably could squeeze one in here, but then we wouldn't have room to do other things.
The other thing is, we're in the middle of Marrickville here, and we can walk to about 12 really awesome breweries.
Oh, definitely.
That are all set up to be able to do that. So it would kind of be a bit of a waste if we were to actually build our own brewing system in here.
Yeah.
Well,
certainly Marrickville is the brewing homeland of Australia really now, isn't it? We've got more breweries.
More breweries in this postcode than anywhere else.
Yeah, it's insane.
Also that adds to our story as well. That we're collaborating with Brewery X around the corner to come up with the grain bill and mash it out and ferment it. I'm keen on some further experimentation with grain bills and yeast strains and things like that. Again, from brewing, coming from a passionate home brew background and being a certified beer judge, and knowing the influences that different grains and different yeasts and processing techniques can have on the finished product. I want to try to apply some of that to the distilling world instead of just going, let's just take some ale malt and a Scottish whiskey yeast and chuck it in together, and we'll get something out that's the same as everyone else is doing. Well, not everyone else, Crafty. Sorry, mate.
So I've just flicked up there a question from Crafty, seeing as he's resorted now to just using Facebook. What are your plans for the cellar door? Are there any plans for the cellar door?
There are indeed plans for a cellar door. The building that we moved into has got it's about 450 square meters, but there's another 250 square meters of yard out the back. It's just hard stand, concrete. It's really we don't need it, but we'd love to be able to have people over to share a drink with, and it's a really nice space. There's a big tree that overhangs the back, and we're looking forward to being able to have people over.
A spirits garden. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my most frequented of the breweries in the Marrickville area is Source, and having that huge back area there that they've got just makes it such a destination because they've got the space.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's hot or cold, you can sit out there under the cover and enjoy it with the family, because there's far too few family-friendly venues where you can go and have a decent beer or a drink of some form and have the kids running around without a problem.
So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We've been watching some of what's been going on with the Inner West Council and how they're making announcements about how they're trying to improve some of the processes around DAs and approvals and things like that. So that's really exciting from our point of view, because the usual sort of system that we have had to deal with up until now has been a bit difficult to navigate. So yeah, watch this space.
Yeah, awesome. So more booze soon. Maybe a beer garden, or an outdoor area of some form, and more brewing. That's a lot going on. So where do you see Crafty's piped in? Where do you see Mobius in 2-5 years? You're moving, you're growing, you're...
Growing, definitely.
Growing, yeah. Whether we move out of here, I don't know. It's a bloody good spot.
It's got a nice feel to it. So
it's probably, do whatever we can to stay here, I think. And if we need, a space where we can store barrels, we'll go and rent one.
Right. Yeah.
We don't have to be all under the one roof. If we can, sort of maintain, particularly if we've got, the spirit garden out the back and stuff, it's more like, well, here's home, and we can, park barrels somewhere else and let them just sit in peace and quiet and do their thing,
Crafty's got some space in his shed, I think.
Yeah, I heard you, Andy.
Yeah, we've doubled the size of our shed.
But, some of the things I'm actually interested in talking to Crafty once we start getting, a bit more stock on hand about, I'm keen to work with, a couple of other distillers as well in other areas so that, we can do, barrel swaps and things like that. So if he makes 2 barrels of one product and I make 2 barrels of another product, I keep one here and send one to him. He sends one of his back down to me. And so, just having, same product in aging in different, locations, different climatic areas, different, temperatures, pressures, humidities, etc. And then, here's swap them back after a predetermined time. And then, you've got ostensibly the same product, but it's actually 2 different products because of, the maturation, environments.
That's it. The variation that you can get from that would be quite interesting to do a side-by-side comparison of them.
Yeah.
How has altitude or how has being so close to a bushfire affected the end product versus being in the inner west of Sydney and
if Crafty's not interested in that, I definitely would be interested in trying to force him to take a couple of barrels. It'd be quite a good experiment, I think.
Awesome. We'll talk more, Todd.
I'm sure he'll be into it. I'm sure he
will. Yeah.
But yeah, so where do we see ourselves?
Hopefully coming up with more new crazy spirit ideas.
Yeah. Certainly looking to, expand our distribution so that we can actually get, product out into more hands, more glasses, people having more conversations with our product. And then, beyond that, I would like to see what we can do about, moving offshore or moving product offshore.
So is that more a question of volume? So you're obviously in Dan Murphy's now with the apple pie. So you've got to have a decent amount of volume to send product through Dan's. Is going offshore or getting more volume going to need a bigger premises or more capacity of some form? Or
Well, that's why I'm
How do
buying
you see
these tanks. Because I've also worked through that, the production processes that I use, and I've worked out. At the moment, I'm doing certain things in certain ways because I'm, constrained by the equipment I've got and the space that I've got. So by getting some more equipment in, it means I can do a bigger volume in a shorter period of time just by changing my process slightly. So instead of it taking me, nearly a week to do a batch of apple pie, I've worked out I can shrink that down to 2 days.
Wow.
Right. So at least then, I'm able, as well as being able to do a bigger volume in a batch, I can then do more batches in a week.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they're very long days.
They all are, yeah. But, it's just by, working through how you do things and that's how I'm looking to, at least initially, expand capacity or production capacity.
Yeah.
You can then supply both domestic and have the ability to look at, offshore.
We've already got those offshore awards, so I'm sure that will help.
Yeah, indeed.
So Crafty's piped in again. Collaboration. What's your thoughts on? What's your thoughts of Australian craft spirits movement?
Good question.
Now, I think we might need to interpret that.
I think collaboration was possibly the answer to the previous thing about barrel swaps and stuff. We're very big on collaborating with others. And then we'll be what's your thoughts.
So who are you watching in the Australian spirits industry? Who's sort of got your eye as doing something quite interesting?
Well, I don't tend to... look, I have a general interest in what everyone else is doing, but it's not like I'm, fanboy of, distillery A versus distillery B.
Yeah.
I'm sort of keeping a watching brief, I guess, on what other people are doing. I'm probably more interested in being able to do the best I can and, produce as quality first and foremost, I'm interested in what other people are doing and want to see them succeed, but I'm also interested in seeing what they're doing so that I can, as I was saying, I like to be a little bit left of center, right of center, so that, I'm creating, products that I hope, people find interesting, that are a bit different to, just, another vodka or another gin or whatever it happens to be, that is something, there's something there that, inspires a conversation, inspires a repeat purchase, that someone can get, passionate about and, go and advocate, for my products instead of, going, buying, something from, one of the multinationals that, is in every bottle shop, I'm probably more interested in, what's happening with the rise of the industry overall instead of, what's this distillery doing versus that one,
So in that vein, where do you see the industry going? What are the trends that you're seeing?
I think that things are, there's a lot of people coming into the market, it seems now, that have got quite a bit of coin behind them. And so that, the distilleries that they're brewing, they haven't bootstrapped. They've just gone out, with a checkbook and said, I want one of them. And that's going to look really cool over here. And so then, they open up with their cellar door and everyone goes, oh, look, it's bright and shiny, yay. But, do they actually know how to make a product or make a quality product, And it worries me a bit that, people might be, dazzled by the bright lights and, the shiny copper thing in the corner, rather than, what's this in the glass that I've just been presented and, is it any good? Why do I like it? Would I buy it? Would I share it? Or how would I drink that,
You would certainly hope that would sort of come out in the wash. Yes, they may have all the shiny bells and whistles, the beautiful location or the very pretty still. But if it doesn't taste good at the end of the day, you're not going to go back.
Well,
I think that's probably the strength of passion.
If they've got marketing dollars behind them and they can convince everyone that this is really good.
In which case, good luck to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that is what the market wants, then yeah. That would go.
Well, I'm sure there's always going to be a market for passion and experimentation. Yeah. And yes, Crafty's just chimed in again saying that his copper is very dirty.
Is that a euphemism or
not sure?
Okay.
Well, this has been really good.
Jeff.
It's been a little bit difficult, obviously, with Crafty being, well, half here, half not.
Yeah.
So thank you for bearing with us. We'll see the company you keep in stores in the next few weeks, months, maybe. Yeah. Anyone in particular we should look out for? Any locations?
We've got the Moreau is in a dozen BWSs around the inner west at the moment. So we're going to try and get the company you keep into there first and foremost, as well as some of the independents. Farrah's down in Canberra for one.
The Oak Barrel up in Sydney is always a great place to find locally made, good quality, locally made craft spirits as well.
Yeah, a few porter stores, a few chambers around the place.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
And now to plug your website, and mailing lists.
Yep.
So you've got the website up there. You're on Facebook.
Insta.
At Mobius Distilling. At Mobius Distilling Co. And obviously jump on the website to order. Get into the gin. Definitely get into the apple pie. That shit's awesome.
Hey, before everything wraps up, is there anyone online who's got any questions?
Well, let's go back. Crafty was certainly chiming in. We've had a few chime in here and there, mainly with a hello.
Hello.
So yes, they're there. There's. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Any
through Jacob. I think we've been answering them as we go along.
Okay.
So no, I think we're all right there, unless anyone chimes in quickly.
Go.
Yes, you can.
All right, never mind.
Don't leave us hanging. Awkward silence. Nobody likes that.
No.
It's all good. So wonderful. This will go out as it's already on YouTube. It's already on Facebook Live. It'll be available at all of those. And there you go, Jeff. It's been interesting. Journey is similar. So yeah, thank you very much for your time and patience. And
yes, thanks for the patience at the beginning.
With the new release. And I look forward to having a sampler. I'm certainly going to swing past I'll swing past the distillery and just knock on your door.
Yep, easy.
Yep. Wonderful.
Welcome here, man.
Awesome. I will be there. Thank you very much.
Yes, guys. It's been good fun.
And we will we'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Great. Cheers.
Thank you. Well done.
Good night, everyone.